Hi, my name is Lorna Muthamia Ochido, and I'm making it one of my life's mission to demystify the speech therapy field and to empower more parents on what they can start to do in order to optimize their child's communication outcomes. So whether you want your child to talk more or talk better, learn better, and overall optimize their potential. So stay tuned and feel free to send in any topics on speech and language development you'd like for me to tackle. Hi and welcome to my channel. I am Lorna Muthamia Ochido, and today's topic is all about, 4 causes. There are many, but just focusing on 4 today. 4 causes for your child's pronunciation difficulties. Now, pronunciation is the actual mechanics, or how you enunciate. So everything to do with speech, which is very different from language. Go check out that video if you want to know the difference between speech and language. All right, so before we get started, please let me know in the comments what you think could cause a child's pronunciation difficulties, so speech difficulties, articulation difficulties. Please let me know. Love to find out. All right, so 4 things that could cause your child's pronunciation difficulties. So there are many, but one of them would be their age. Easy enough, isn't it? If your child is younger, they are more likely to have pronunciation difficulties. So, and that is expected, and it is also very appropriate. So if a child is 3 years, we don't expect them to pronounce, or 2 years, we don't expect them to pronounce as well as a 5-year-old does. There is a video somewhere, so look for it. I'll probably link it. I will link it on what the expected intelligibility rates are for different aged children. So how well they should be able to speak or to pronounce. So when I have a child that comes to the clinic and they're 2 years and parents are concerned about the articulation, I will look at it, and if I feel that those errors are generally appropriate errors, I will term some errors inappropriate for a child's age and others appropriate. Then I'll just tell them, well, just watch out for this. And if you're not sure, always just go to your child's speech therapist and find out and ask. But generally, really, a child that is 4 and below, we expect that they should have pronunciation errors. Second cause of pronunciation difficulties, hearing. So if a child is not hearing, and when I say hearing, I'm not referring to a child that is severely to profoundly hearing impaired. I will link a video that talks more about, hearing loss and hearing assessment. So you can check that one out if you want to find out more. But if your child is not getting a clear enough sound signal, I'm always having to explain to parents that I'm not just interested in whether your child's hearing organ is working well, but also the pathway to the hearing organ, because there is a pathway. This is a pathway. The outer ear is a pathway, and then there's a middle, and then there's the inner ear. Now the hearing organ is housed in the inner ear. Now a child needs to have optimal access to sound for them to be able to pronounce accurately. One of the main culprits for causes I find for children that the reasons why a child might be having articulation or pronunciation difficulties would be if they actually are denied access to sound, either because they're having frequent ear infections, or because when you have frequent ear infections, and not necessarily ear infections, but frequent colds and flus and whatnot, what happens actually is that water or fluid is trapped in the middle ear. Now if fluid is trapped in the middle ear, they can't get a clear enough sound signal. So hearing difficulties, not just for children who have profound hearing or a level of a hearing loss, to do with their sensory neural, which means their inner ear, but also for children who just might have obstructed pathways. Wax could also be obstructing the pathway to the hearing organ. So those 2 factors, conductive hearing loss or the sensory neural hearing loss, that could be a cause or a reason why your child will have pronunciation difficulties. Clear? I hope I'm clear. Third reason why your child might display pronunciation difficulties is if they have a medically diagnosed condition, physiological impairment. What could be these medically diagnosed conditions or physiological impairments or anomalies? One of them could be cerebral palsy. Children who have cerebral palsy tend to have quite flaccid muscles that make pronunciation sound a little imprecise or distorted. So that kind of speech is called dysarthric speech. So that could be a cause. If your child has Down syndrome, they tend to have quite pronounced pronunciation difficulties that, you know, they need to attend speech therapy to be able to remediate. Also, if your child has been born with a cleft palate, they will have pronunciation difficulties, mostly to do with just, they're called obligatory errors. They can't help it. They just have a palate, a cleft in the palate, which means a hole in the palate that's preventing them from achieving the right environment for articulating specific sounds. If your child also has what's called ankyloglossia, so ankyloglossia, wow, just being fancy here. Well, it is a technical term though, but that refers to tongue tie. So tongue tie means there's a restricted or limited, restricted I think is a better term, frenulum. So frenulum is this thing, this string here that's below the tongue. So if they have a tongue tie, that could be causing the articulation difficulties, particularly with specific sounds, you know, not necessarily all of them. So that's the third reason, yeah? And the last reason, the fourth reason why your child might be experiencing pronunciation difficulties is if they have, you know, they've been, you know, like been on a pacifier or a dummy for a prolonged period of time, or they've been sucking their thumb or fingers, or, you know, I see kids who suck 2 and 3 and there seems to be no style. I used to think it was just a thumb, but there are kids who just do all, you know, all manner of combination of fingers. So if your child is has been sucking their thumb for a prolonged period of time, or they've been on the dummy for a prolonged period of time, that is sure to cause some kind of pronunciation difficulties. Because what happens, and I know this might freak out a few parents, it is all correctable if your child is, so basically what happens that they can tend to start thrusting their tongue. It's a condition called tongue thrusting, and it can also, prolonged use of the pacifier can actually alter dentition. And when I have seen a lot of children who've been on the pacifier or sucking their thumb for a long time, and when you ask them to smile, you see how my canines all meet and there's no space. Their canines are actually meeting, but there's actually a gap here. And that normally can be corrected through orthodontic intervention when they're teenagers. You know, they can have braces, they can, I'm not quite sure what else, what other treatment is there. But also the children who I find suck their thumbs might also end up lisping. So lisping is when you dentalize your tongue. So dentalizing your tongue means you're sticking your tongue between your teeth for sounds that don't require that. You know, like a sound requires your tongue to be stuck between your teeth, but for a sound it doesn't. So these children who tend to, that's how they talk. And really there's a process of, you know, correcting that, and there's a video here that explains how you correct that. But those are the 4 main reasons that would cause pronunciation difficulties. So there you have it. I hope I have been clear. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate, pop them into the comment. If you like the video, please do give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you have, thank you so much, and notification bell so that you're notified when we publish a new video, which is I think twice a week. Thank you so much, and catch you later.